Enter your profile name. Dicha. Obviamente. No sé por qué ponen esas cosas. Options. Gameplay, dificultad normal. Audio, texto en español. Título sí. Gráficos, ventanas sin bordes, pantalla completa. Inclusión ambiental, resolución, controles. Se llama Not For Broadcasting, somos un realizador de televisión. ¿Se quedó sin música? Se quedó sin música. ¿Por qué? No sé. Archivo. Emisiones, copiones, anuncios. Vale. Nombre de la partida. Destino. Modo historia. Experimenta la historia sin estrés, mecánicas de no difusión desactivadas. La audiencia es muy indulgente. Becario. Menos desafiante, las mecánicas de no difusión exigen menos. La audiencia no se desinteresa tan rápido. Recomendado. Radiodifusor. Una experiencia equilibrada. Las mecánicas de no difusión y los índices de audiencia son un reto razonable. Vamos a probar con esto.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Siempre lo quise probar este. Se lo vi a -13 hace un montón de tiempo atrás. Hace muchos años y me dieron key en Keymailer. Entonces dije, y también por eso lo quería probar antes que me caduquen, por eso después no me dan más keys. Not For Broadcast. Desactiva los subtítulos en cualquier momento desde el menú de pausa. Esto con teclados. Mira a la derecha. Una llamada para ti, te la paso. Hey Dave, oye esto. Sé que solo vienes para limpiar la sala. Pero me he liado un poco, así que vas a tener que dirigir el informativo de esta noche. No es complicado, yo me quedaré en el teléfono. Vamos a revisar rápido cómo funciona la sala de control. Si todavía no lo estás haciendo, mira hacia adelante, donde están todas las pantallas. Vale, esta es la audiencia. Tenemos que hacer que vaya subiendo, no que baje, ¿vale? Debajo tienes las pantallas. La que tienes a la derecha es la pantalla de emisión. Esto es lo que los espectadores ven en sus casas. Va un par de segundos por detrás con respecto a la pantalla principal. Luego tienes las 4 pantallas a la izquierda que muestran las otras cámaras. Puedes escoger la que prefieras. Usa otros botones en la mesa y en la parte inferior izquierda, no te preocupes. Mira a tu izquierda. Otro Antonio en el plató. Los he dejado ya en posición. Activa el conmutador. Vale. No tiempo de sobra para explicar. Vale. Debajo de la mesa. ¿Cómo se mira debajo de la mesa? Ejercítate. ¿Qué pone? Para amas de casa. Ensalada semanal. Experiencia de la lectura. Vamos a ponerlo acá. De última. Y ven a... Vale, cargamos anuncios.
Prawn and mayonnaise?
Right, quick as you can. Select screen 1.
Yeah, I thought it might increase our viewing figures.
Every day, you offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. It's how I show love.
You're trying to kill me.
And yet you persist, going 5, 4.
But now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
Okay,
Moving on up.
Lo próximo es lanzar la cabecera del informativo.
titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as well. Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Buys honest Andy's totally independent and corners the flowered market. Top chat. Sports fans everywhere celebrate as popular footballer Johnny Hamsleeves wins Sports Personality of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar. Megan will be chatting with movie star Lawrence Blunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going
Conectaremos en directo con la sede Advance para escuchar.
fledgling party have to say on their historic.
Right. Button
That's all coming up on
in
tonight.
3,
National
2,
Nightly News.
1, now. Bit late there, mate.
¿Cómo que un poco tarde? La concha de tu madre.
Next thing is the throwback to Jeremy with button 1 when that globe in the middle shrinks down and vanishes. Here it comes. Switch to screen. Bit early there, mate.
Pero me la cago en Dios.
But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance.
We often get a bit of interference around this time, mate. Keep your eye on the machine at the bottom right. Use that slider that's flashing or your scroll wheel to move the wave up and down, keeping the green bit in the white bit.
But critics have accused it of a severe lack of actual policies and of being deliberately vague.
Mira la cantidad de cosas que tenés que tener en cuenta.
Defeat to Advance's overwhelming mandate, but have yet to appear publicly. However, former Home Secretary
Right, it's
Jeffrey
going well. All you've got to do now is play the advert at the end of the segment. Make sure you don't play it too early or you'll get fired. Now,
Ay, no lo vi.
please count you down to the advert. When it reaches 0, press one of the 3 play ad buttons over there at the bottom right. I normally play the first one at the first break and so on, but you can play them in any order you want. I'll count you into it as well, but keep your eye on the clock.
to hear the co-leader's acceptance speech.
And 3,
That's all coming
2, 1, advert.
1 minute back, everybody.
Jeremy, I need you to fill after the ads.
What? Why?
¿Qué?
Snatch is running late.
I thought
¿Qué quilombo?
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
that's the same policy we use with you. I thought that was our little secret. It's all right, he doesn't remember anything I tell him.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wicked. We made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence because you're going to be cutting between
Qué bueno.
multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb.
These aren't my
1.
cards. Please
Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long. 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot or pull out to the wide shot for a bit just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programs on television, haven't you? Make
Qué
it
bueno.
like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead, mate.
Break. Quiet in the studio.
thank you so much for
10 seconds, everybody.
With Johnny Hamsley.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later, we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first
Get
off,
ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
Wolf is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare
Right,
to
go
the
to
shop
Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his
joined
name.
today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is a moment
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's talking.
Your latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the Rat, that's Peter Jensen, the director.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction.
He's a wonderful
Lovely.
chap.
Now back to Thunder Twat.
I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
Oh, that is a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, doesn't it? Giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose
Reaburriendo la mina.
I do it for the people that I inspire. The little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, one should always strive to not fuck things up.
Shit, he swore. Oh, well, don't worry, he won't do it again.
Sorry, I said fuck.
He did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Medicated, which opens next week.
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. Exciting stuff.
Cool, looks like Blunderclatch is losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that.
Es buenísimo.
It's a bit trickier this time, mate. Use that little flashing joystick to the left of the knob, or hold down your middle mouse or Alt on your keyboard, and as the frequency changes, match it to the white bit by dragging right.
You think I don't know that?
Now we're going to squash the frequency back by dragging left.
No, we mustn't.
Qué quilombo la cantidad de interacciones que tenés que tener. ¿Sucumbiste? Sí, sucumbí, ruso. O sea, terminamos la dungeon, una parte, me equivoqué de lugar y fue como, no, paso de volver a repetirle. Este se lo había visto a -13 hace un par de años atrás y siempre lo quise probar. Y me lo dieron, entonces me parece buena ocasión para jugar un ratito antes de ir a la cama. Está muy bueno. Es muy loco.
Next, we're going to change the amplitude. Same as
Es muy loco.
joystick, or hold Alt or middle mouse, and this time push upwards. Upwards, mate, upwards.
But I didn't listen.
Doctor,
I'm drowning, Lance, you said.
you need to see this.
Right, now let's match it back by going downwards.
The virus. The sterility. This folder. This is the key.
Not bad, you'll get it with practice.
We have to ask ourselves.
At the end of the clip, you'll want to play another ad. Remember to use the clock at the top to count you in.
Sí, es difícil. Igual sabes también qué pasa, por qué me gusta tanto.
Right, I guess I better explain how to deal with bleep.
Porque yo cuando estudiaba el FP de audiovisual, de producción, hacíamos prácticas en el estudio de tele que había en el instituto. Y precisamente esto era lo que más me gustaba. Cuando me tocaba a mí hacer la parte de realización, disfrutaba muchísimo. Y aparte después lo veías, cómo quedaba, y era una gozada. Y cuando de golpe vi que es un juego de realización, que es algo que yo siempre quise ser. Y aparte, al haber estado en platós de realización y estar en el control de realización, que estuve en la televisión de Galicia, en los informativos de fin de semana, hice prácticas, después estuve en programas en directo, también estuve en la parte de realización, vi programas en directo, cómo se hacían, ¿cuándo fue? Durante el FP también vi cómo hacían en la televisión de Galicia, pero programas en directo. Y el control de realización era buenísimo, porque se respira un ambiente de tensión, porque es riguroso directo. Solamente habla de realizador a los gritos, pero a los gritos de una manera correcta, sin faltar el respeto. Solamente es como, acá el que mando soy yo y se hace lo que yo digo, pero visto con autoridad. O sea, no un grito de ¡ah! De histeriqueo, sino un grito de para que se escuche todo bien en el control, porque es bastante grande, por lo menos en los que yo estuve, y que todo el mundo cumpla bien su función, porque tiene que ser todo milimétrico.
Out swear words. As you've probably noticed, the broadcast screen here is about 2 seconds behind the master screen here. When someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up like this. 2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the bleep button or the space bar on your keyboard for as long as the swear word lasts. It can take a bit of
Claro, tenés que contar hasta 2.
two things at once. Just stay calm and you'll get it. And if you can't tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you got to do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red bit.
Vale, más fácil así.
Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear. Most people like to have the volume of the broadcast screen a little bit below
¿Y cómo se
the
hace?
screen. Let's set it now. As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert getting louder. Good. You're set to start censoring. Like I say, it takes a little practice, but I'll try and help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember, button lights up, count 1, 2, and hold it down.
Dale, Rusito, gracias por la compañía. Un abracito grande.
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the feed. Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late.
Un abrazo grande. Un abrazo.
Buttons on your keyboard.
Mañana Star Wars seguramente.
Seriously?
We've had worse. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance Headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Cut to the outside broadcast. Oh shit, he's pissed. Get ready to bleep.
Well, thank you all for coming.
Aprovechar para dejar de... Aprovecha.
Well, where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do
They
it.
certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying southern bastard trick they had against us. But you, the people,
Nice.
you saw right through their shite.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. Makes me coarser than a granny's fanny.
Memorably put.
No, you totally
Let's
missed
be
that.
honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign, you've heard us say that Advance are not a political party. A party is what you have when things are going well. When the country is suffering, you don't need a party. You need a team. A team that can change things. But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitting pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate. Before we came out here to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have produced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know the sort of, probably you rather you don't. Because the likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax laws.
So, all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to hide. And earlier today, we revoked your passports. You want them back. You want to leave like you threatened before the election. That's fine. But first, you're going to pay up. You're going to pay back.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals into a team. To properly fund health and education. To raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute ferret shite. So to you posh twats.
The people who pay you a pittance to serve them drinks in their private clubs. The people whose children you...
No,
So they've got time to get even
ahí me lo perdí.
fucking richer.
Advance have this to say to you.
It ends today.
We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been. In the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again. Just like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get pissed.
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
Well, an interesting acceptance speech there from the leaders of Advance, and our apologies for the fruity language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under Advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're
Looks like you've
Good
got
job,
it now.
everybody.
Thanks for all the help, mate. I've got to go. Ferry's about to leave. Probably won't be coming back. Job's yours, mate.
El trabajo es tuyo. No entiendo nada, pero lo estás haciendo bien, estás disminuyendo. Hay partes que hay que censurar. Me parece que este tipo está en la entrevista totalmente. Sí, a ver, son políticos. La idea es un poco cómo funcionan los medios de comunicación frente a una noticia. De ahí que más gente o menos gente lo vea. Hay que estar full focus. Son muchas cosas. Muy a lo paper please, totalmente, solamente con acción real. Entonces, en función de cómo vos lo hagas, este juego lo jugó GameLure, me dijo que hay no sé cuántos miles, bueno, miles no, pero hay muchos finales posibles. Entonces, en función de cómo lo hagas, la gente va a tener una opinión distinta de los políticos. Entonces, en este caso también, si no censurás o demás, hay que ver qué es lo que interesa. Acá, por ejemplo, estaban diciendo de que iba a haber una nueva ley, que los ricos iban a tener que pagar más millones. No me quedé con todo, porque claro, tenés que estar pensando en las cámaras, tenés que estar pensando en el volumen, tenés que estar pensando en dónde tirar la publi, dónde tirar la censura, y aún por encima andar leyendo los subtítulos, porque algo te vas quedando en inglés, pero claro, hay momentos que no llegas. ¿Qué opinas de Undertale? Nunca lo jugué. Lo probé y no llegué a disfrutarlo mucho. Lo probé muy poquito, la verdad. Entonces no puedo opinar.
Then?
Is this some weird fever dream? Am I dying now or something?
You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not coming for a drink?
Nope, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not to get murdered.
Intenta que no te... Está la desafío desbloqueada. Continuar, vale. Recibirás un informe de la emisión. Pero bonificaciones y tienen al jefe contento. Malísimo, yo pensé que lo había hecho bien. Es que, claro, la primera secuencia es donde te está explicando, entonces malísima. La B la hice bien, que era la entrevista con el tipo, pero claro, la E me cagó mucho con... no, creo que es lo peor, preguntitas. Creo, no sé. Creo. ¿Ves? Empecé muy bien. Esto tuvo que haber sido algún insulto. Hemos emitido algunas palabras obscenas. Programas sin interferencias. Claro, ahí la cagué con las interferencias. También depende, lógicamente, entiendo yo, la publicidad que tengas, si tiene que ver o no. ¿Ves acá, por ejemplo? La publicidad enganchó bastante bien. Una edición increíblemente buena. Ojo, una edición increíblemente buena. Ah, vale, YouTube me avisa que alguien subió un video. Me alegro por esa persona. Continuar. Muestra cuánto te van a pagar y tus riquezas. Pobre como una rata. Deuda agobiante. Has recibido una ligera deducción del sueldo. Vale, gracias. Es muy Paper Please, definitivamente. Esta es la última página, te cuenta el estado del mundo, describe cómo le va al gobierno y ahí al final algo importante, te muestra lo que el canal 1 opina de ti, vamos, lo que el jefe piensa de ti. O sea que no le gustó. Podemos ver lo que hice. A ver cómo lo hicimos. Y si no nos enteramos, ¿no?
Let's take a look at what's coming up later on tonight on Channel 1. At 7 o'clock, it's the semi-final of the quotation game, and it's a nail-biting quiz tonight as a team of nuclear physicists take on 4 old ladies from East Grinching. That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight looks at the history of the knee sock and its importance during the
Porque no veía reloj arriba.
Not one to miss. At 9 p.m., sit back and relax.
Ahora, oye, por eso lo quiero ver, porque es lo divertido. Eso era lo que decía antes. Yo, por ejemplo, cuando estudié producción, hacíamos realización a veces. Y veía si, cuando vos sos el realizador y cómo tirás, decís ahora cambia y demás, tiene que ser muy milimétrico. Y quiero ver cómo quedó así.
But now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson for the National Nightly News.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight. Moving on up, the election win that experts said just couldn't happen. Hopeful or hostile? Controversy as global mega corporation Remington's Fist buys Honest Andy's Totally Independent and corners the flowered market. Top chap. Sports fans everywhere celebrate as popular footballer Johnny Hamsleeves wins Sports Personality of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar. Megan will be chatting with movie star Lawrence Blunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going live.
A mí también, eso es lo que me llama la atención. A nivel producción, el quilombo que tiene que ser comentar eso. Era ahí súper lento. Súper lento. Fue como... Por ahí esto lo ve alguien y dice que embole, pero a mí me parece re divertido. Te juro, me parece re divertido. La tiré.
But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance. The landslide victory, with an astonishing 81% of the popular vote, is the biggest election win in living memory. Advance appealed to voters up and down the country with their bold promises of permanent change. But critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies and of being deliberately vague. The opposition party...
No, lógicamente que no.
Advance's overwhelming mandate, but have yet to appear publicly. However, former Home Secretary Geoffrey Jeffries has issued a statement in which he comments that we have all been seduced by the shiny wrapping paper, but have yet to see the contents of the box. Sounds like sour grapes to me, Jeff. After the break, Megan Wolf will be speaking to a man whose grapes certainly aren't sour, the international heartthrob and inexplicable box office sensation that is Lawrence Blunderclatch.
Ahí... Muy Paper Please. Como que a esa hora hay muchas interferencias. Entonces ahí lo que tenés que hacer es apretar Alt y con la rueda tenés como una señal de ondas. Entonces lo que hace la señal de ondas se achica y se agranda. Entonces tenés que la señal que se quede ahí. Sobre el final de la transmisión pasaba lo mismo, pero había que ampliar la señal o disminuirla. Entonces ahí es donde la cagué. No me di cuenta porque me estaba explicando y no lo llegué a hacer. Entonces la señal ahí la jodés.
And later in the program, we'll be going live to Advance HQ to hear the co-leader's acceptance speech. That's all coming up after the break.
A ver cómo es la pausa. Quiero ver la pausa.
Hi, I'm world-class sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves, and I'm not fat, but you are. Don't worry, ladies. Now you can have me, Johnny Hamsleeve, right there in your lounge.
Johnny!
Match day, happy day. Me and the lads are playing away. I'll take you through a proper match day workout with my two cracking assistants. Who knows, within a few weeks, you could be as fit as them. In the coach cruising down the motorway. Match day, Saturday.
No es tan viejo, te diría.
Handshakes and we're ready to play. Did you know that fat people are less likely to laugh, marry, or live past the age?
Mentira, me acabo de reír, hijo de puta.
True statistics are all terrifying reasons why you should pop a bit of Johnny in your VHS slot.
Del 2020 es. Este lo hizo menos 13. Yo lo conocí gracias a él. Hace eso, 2 años por ahí.
72% likely to get rid of those tricky tummies and cruel cellulite.
Get match fit!
With Johnny Hamsleeves. Hair dryer treatment.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later, we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first, our very own culture reporter, Megan Wolf, is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf,
bastante bien.
correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare to the Shotbot films. I'm very excited to be joined today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope
Ahí era plano general.
that being with you here today is among the greatest joys of my life.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Ahí plano corto
So
a
you
ella.
just finished filming your latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
Plano corto.
Medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Uf, qué mal.
Well, as I said to Peter at the Wrap, that's Peter Jensen, the director. Do you know him? He's a wonderful chap. He really is. I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, for freedom.
Me gusta la mina, pero parece que aguanta el bostezo.
Honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
Oh, that is a beautiful question, Megan.
Es que
And not
el
easy.
curro que tiene es brutal.
Like
El
you,
montaje después
I'm afraid.
es una locura.
Me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire, the little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, one should always strive to not fuck things up.
Yes, well,
Sorry, I said fuck.
no.
I'm
well,
sorry.
Lawrence, I believe you brought in a clip from The Medicated, which opens next week around the country. Lawrence, do tell us what's going on here.
I'd be delighted. This is a really pivotal scene.
Por ahí tendrías que fijarte eso de hacia dónde miran las personas. Cuando se miran entre sí plano, cuando miran a la cámara. Sí, sí, totalmente. Ahí es que no me dio tiempo. Y aparte, lo más difícil es que te estaban hablando para hacer cómo se hace. Y ahí me estaban explicando de la censura, que hay que tener cuidado con la censura. Entonces ahí es donde me cagó el plano general a los planos. Pero sí, hay que seguir siempre ¿cómo se llama? El eje de cámara, ¿no? O sea, porque lógicamente ahí, por ejemplo, está un plano general y ahí era para un primer plano porque el flaco está mirando a la cámara de él, no a la general. La general tiene que ser de contextualización. Cuando ella pregunta por qué lo mira a él, tendría que ser más así. Pero claro, en el momento no sabes bien para dónde está mirando y que es directo, es lo difícil. Pero me dieron una vez, yo con eso soy feliz. ¿Qué tal, Felipe? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look.
Esa ahí fue bastante bien entre todo.
I don't understand it.
Doctor.
I don't understand it.
Claro. Y vas viendo cómo se hace. Y me parece el laburo que tiene.
You think I don't know that?
Parece peli porno ya. Es que la calidad que tiene es peli porno.
Lawrence, we mustn't. Think of Carol.
That's Dr. Lance to you, Miss Flanagan.
¿Qué es esto? ¿Ves? Ahí otra interferencia, me cagaron.
We're gonna change the world, do you remember? Only I listened to you.
Dr. Hemlock.
You told me, but I didn't listen.
Doctor.
I'm drowning, Lance, you said.
You need to see this.
Now it's all too late.
Look at this!
The virus. The sterility. This formula. This is the key.
We could stop it all.
Yes, we could stop it all.
Y ahí se la fornica, ¿no?
We have to ask ourselves
If we should.
A ver la publicidad. Acá creo que tocaba publicidad.
Where can you get warm, sandy beaches, clear waters, and fine dining?
Qué buena pinta eso.
Well, we're not sure, but here in St Bumley on the Taint, we've got a big hill and the bus comes twice daily. Visit picturesque St Bumley this summer and experience a holiday that's simply unlike any other. Come and visit the abandoned spade factory. Your kids will love exploring the old production line in relative safety. Grab your tetanus shots and come down today. There's no gift shop, but feel free to grab an old handle from the skip out the back. Or why not indulge your cultured side and visit some of our sites of historic interest, like the parish church, currently the subject of a thrilling police investigation, the old market, home of the fairly big cabbage.
¿Cómo estás, Pito, otra vez?
Hey, that's a nice hole. And after a long day exploring Bumley, you can relax in comfort in one of 2 communal tents. Or you could take advantage of our famous nightlife. There's a radio in the cafe, or on Fridays we gather to watch tramps fight. Come on, Harold, you scruffy old meth head. Only 85 minutes from the coast, and with more than 2
Qué malos subtítulos ahí.
Isn't it time your family went Bumley way? And hey, if you come in the dry season, we've got a car park. St Bumley, on the Taint.
Acabo de volver a cenar porque me tuve que ir, sorry, pero me tengo que ir. A dormir. No quería hacerlo sin despedirme y decirte que descanses y que deseo que tengas un stream de fábula. Un abrazo, papichulo. Sorry por no te disculpes, Wiki, en serio. Acá cada uno hace lo que puede, en serio, no te preocupes. Ya con que te pases a saludarme, des un ratito de charla, yo ya soy feliz. Que me gastes un ratito de tu tiempo en saludarme, ya está. Muchas gracias por la compañía, Wiki. Un abracito grande, que tengas una buena noche. No quiero saber qué es esto. Es un juego como Paper Please, Pete, solamente que con actores de acción real. Está muy desfasado el subtítulo. Sí, no lo puedo arreglar, Tindro, no sé por qué. Ya está.
Welcome back, and I'm told we can now go live to Advance Headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter
Boluda, antes estaba hablando Liz, el link, vos me pediste links, y te los había pasado por el stream. Por eso nunca te contesté. Boluda. Boluda, ¿no funciona? Medias. Pero si no fue, ni bien me dijiste que eso aparte está grabado directo. Me dijiste, pásame los links. Y fue como, vale, después te los paso. Y fue como, al tabulador te lo pasé. Por acá, al momento, al minuto. Después fue. Pero segurísimo. Sí. Segurísimo. Y cuando es así me decís, che, boludo, contestame. Y ya está, no pasa nada. En vez de andar ahí metiendo el dedo en la llaga, buscando. Porque fue al instante, por eso te digo. O sea, por favor. Por favor.
and Julia Salisbury are about to make their acceptance address.
A ver cómo quedó esto. Sí.
Shall I start?
Go for it, Pat.
Sí, ahora te los paso entonces, Liz.
Well,
Sí, por eso, porque no sabía de qué me hablabas, boluda.
where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do
They
it.
certainly did.
They used every dirty
Qué mala.
lying they had against us, but you, the people, you saw right.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. Makes me coarser than a Granny's fanny.
Memorably put.
La almeja para afuera.
Honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating?
Sí, muy lento.
Throughout the campaign, you've heard us say that Advance are not a political party. A party is what you have when
Eso es lo que me dice siempre mi mujer.
when the country is suffering. You don't need a party. You need a team that can change things. But today is day one of a new future, a better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their in their dusty checkbooks.
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate. Before we came out here to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have produced a definitive
Sí, lo hace muy marcado.
the country with wealth into the millions.
You know the sort of probably you rather you don't. Because the last
Pero sabes también después la otra que te dicen, si mantenés mucho el plano, el flaco te decía, no mantengas tanto el plano, porque si no es aburrido, entonces tenés que ir cambiando al general. Es un quilombo.
of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler,
También porque querían
So all you
cabrones de la privada.
nowhere to hide. And earlier today,
No, pero es que me decía, porque te baja el rating que sería.
you want to leave like you threatened before the election. That's fine. But first, You're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Ahora hacemos uno más. Que me gustó mucho.
From a nation of warring individuals into a team. To properly fund health and education. To raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have
Sí, lo de seguirle la mirada, sí, eso te lo entendí.
what's ours. That's absolute ferret shit. So to you posh twats.
The people who pay you a pittance to serve them drinks in their private clubs. The people whose children you raise.
So they've got time to get even richer.
Advance have this to say to you.
It ends today.
We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been. In the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again. Just like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get picked.
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
Well, an interesting
Ahí tardé un montón también.
advance. And our apologies for the fruity language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
Vale.
Right, click on rushes and let's have a look at those.
Copiones.
Right, this is the rushes room. It's pretty simple. The four screens
No.
they're going to show you the four signals you got from the studio during the actual broadcast. Difference is you can mute any combination of them so you can have a listen to the stuff you want. Select the broadcast and give it a go. And when you're done listening to the backstage secrets, hit back.
La podríamos hacer así. Los titulares para reproducir.
Prawn and mayonnaise?
You know seafood makes me go out in pustules.
Yeah, thought it might increase our
¿Qué laburo que es esto?
Every day. You offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. It's how I show love.
You're trying to kill me.
And yet you persist.
Dale, Pito, un besito grande.
4.
Que descanses, nene. Mañana más y peor porque mejor es imposible.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
Dale. Me siento re tonto, pero me da mucha risa siempre estas cosas así. A ver qué. Porque claro, vemos todas las interacciones que tienen entre ellos así.
Seriously, that prick blunderclatch on election night?
Yeah, Megan's pretty pissed off too.
I'm not surprised. The bloke with no democracy, he's shutting his cornflakes.
Yeah, but he's hot though.
As a KSO, into oxygen thieves.
10 seconds, everybody. Your fragility is leaking. Going in 5, 4,
Qué buena.
3.
But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win.
Uy, para.
I thought that was our little secret.
Coming up after the break.
1 minute back, everybody. Jeremy, I need you to fill after the ads.
What? Why?
Wanker Snatch is running late.
Oh.
I thought I'd ask him about the election.
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
That's the same policy we use with you. I thought that was our little secret. That's all right. He doesn't remember anything I tell him.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Vale. Es así, vas conociendo todas las historias que había detrás. Que, o sea, podemos ir viendo las reacciones que tiene la cámara 1 con respecto a la cámara 2, 3 y 4.
These aren't my cards. Please tell me these aren't my cards.
No, they're the right ones, apparently.
Oh, but this gives me nothing, Jenny. They must see that.
Oh no, I think they think you won't have anything to
¿Qué
say.
tal, Ale? ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, for God's sake, come on. It's a huge day. He's not an...
Absolute bonehead. I don't care, Rob. I'm not doing it. I agreed to do one beastly interview a day. I made that completely clear when we started. Check my contract.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Oh, piss off. You are thin, very ice, Rob. Who
much for.
¿Sabés qué es lo otro, Indro, tan laborioso, no? Está todo hecho en plano secuencia. Está hecho todo en plano secuencia. Porque fíjate que no cortan. O sea, ahora vamos a ver toda la entrevista y todo entiendo que va a pasar más o menos a la vez.
10 seconds, everybody.
O sea, es como una entrevista tal cual.
Going in 5.
¿Qué juego es este? Se llama Not For Broadcast, que es un juego, como bien dijo antes Tindro, muy a lo Paper, Please, donde vos gestionás, estás en el panel de control de la realización de un noticiero. Sos el chabón de la limpieza y de golpe suena el teléfono y es que el realizador se fue a la mierda. Y te guía cómo lo tenés que hacer. Y ahora estamos viendo como lo que no llegamos a ver en directo.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first our very own culture reporter Megan Wolf is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything.
La cara, aparte porque es las reacciones tal cual.
Films. I'm very excited to be joined today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming.
Mirá cómo lo ves, buenísimo.
I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among the greatest joys of my life.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Bless you.
So you've just finished filming your latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Vale, acá ya no hay nada. Ahora te digo, vale.
Let's take a look.
And we're out.
Rob, get the car, we're out of here.
Mr. Blunderclatch,
No! I'm shutting this down. What kind of operation are you people running?
Mr. Blunderclatch, I understand you're upset, but we can.
You don't know the half of it.
Rob! I'll be at the Dorset. Send up a bottle of scotch and a whole ham. It's in my contract.
Plano secuencia absoluto.
Sorry, I just had to. I had to. Oh, go on then. Say it.
What?
I told you so.
Your hair looked nice.
See, this is why you're single.
Y ahí termina, ¿no? Entiendo que sí. Exactamente, Ale, son juegos para que ustedes con puntos de canal, si les apetece que haga alguno, jugarlos. Y entonces así tenemos como marcado más una hoja de ruta. Cada juego tiene un puntaje que está asociado a los puntos del canal. Por ejemplo, hoy me cambió Loli Kenobi, cambió, que no lo puse todavía, cambió el juego de Dig de 7500. Entonces, ese va a ser uno de los próximos que vamos a jugar. Ahora mismo en la lista de orden está Fate of Atlantis, que lo estamos jugando, que lo empezamos el jueves. Peter cambió el otro día Bloodborne, pero se me rompió el mando de la Play 4, entonces queda descartado. Cambió hoy el Assassin's Creed Black Flag, o sea, el Assassin's Creed 4. Entonces vamos a estar con el Assassin's Creed 4, Fate of Atlantis y próximamente The Dig cuando termine alguno. De todas maneras, cuando son juegos largos, como los de 70.000 o 45.000, te bloquean. O sea, voy a aceptar uno solo. Hasta que no termine el de 45.000 o 70.000, no empiezo otro, porque si no es infinito. Entonces vas a siempre ir turnando el de 45.000, 70.000, que son duraciones que oscilan entre 30, 40, 50, 60 horas, con juegos que terminas en 2, 3 streams como mucho. Que por eso ahora tengo que bloquearlo, pero todavía no pude. A ver la investidura, ¿cómo es? Dale. Be right back.
Apparently he's been drinking since lunchtime.
Christ, reliability in the best of times.
I know. God help whoever has to bleep this. 10 seconds, everybody!
I mean, a lawyer and a TV personality running the country. Seriously?
We've had worse. 5, 4, 3...
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Shall I start?
Go for it, Pat.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming.
Have I nearly hit the source this one?
Ah, no te falta nada. Dale. Entonces ahí Ya bloqueo absolutamente todo, porque tengo juegos para bastante tiempo, para un par de semanitas largas. El Fallen Orden a mayores igual lo voy a hacer en la dificultad máxima. Porque es un juego que ya terminé en su momento y lo quiero volver a jugar. Pero quiero probar la dificultad máxima, a ver qué tal. Por eso lo puse ahí. Porque me apetece jugarlo en compañía. Aparte que quiero jugar KOTOR también. Es difícil, es difícil. Tiene mucho timing. Por eso quiero probar. Si no se baja la dificultad y no pasa nada. Me cagan de risa porque está borracho.
These are being an incursion on personal liberties. That is serious.
They took away.
They're stopping people moving. That is outrageous. And whatever they are, they can't do that.
Una dictadura pura y dura. Y claro, tenés que estar atento a tantas cosas que la verdad que me pierdo en la historia. De momento. Ay, la concha de tu madre, pelotuda.
Acceptance speech there from
Vale, y ahí termina. Ay, no, pará, me faltó esto.
Fever dream. Am I dying now or something?
You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not coming for a drink?
Nope, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not to
Y
get
tiene una cita. Boluda, porque sale, Liz ha canjeado. Y solo lo escucho yo, Liz. Es precisamente para no asustar a gente. Ay, acá podés ver los anuncios. Oh, podemos ver los anuncios que no puse. A ver, este. Solo lo escucho yo, Liz. Más que nada por si hay alguien que me tiene en modo podcast y demás. No sé, es que lo tengo. Lo tengo a golpe de. Lo tengo al lado, ¿entendés? O sea, puedo hacerlo. Puedo ver súper rápido. O sea, es hacer. Es como. Tengo muy al lado.
Pre-Christmas sofa and chair deals. It's a steal. We're crazy deal. We don't care if you've been naughty or nice. We got green sofas, red sofas, brown cushions, pink cushions. You've got a grey sofa. We've got a great sofa. In a grey, a brown, a pink, a yellow, a purple. Deals, deals. They're unreal. You've got people coming over at Christmas.
No sos el ombligo del mundo, Liz.
You don't want to sit on this white sofa. She's gonna have to sit on the dark sofa.
Pero miré rápido, boluda. Es súper fácil de ver.
You want to throw your money at us. We'll give you a leather sofa for a price that is just.
Vale. Ok. Guardar y salir, continuar. ¿Quieres ver qué ocurre? Vale, esto ya está. Tienen un documental gratuito. Not For Broadcast, luces, cámara, confinamiento. Eso le puede interesar a Tindro. Bueno, y a mí también, ¿qué coño? Al llegar a casa te encuentras el correo sobre el felpudo. La mayoría es basura y propaganda. Sin embargo, una de las cartas llama tu atención. El equipo quiere conocerte. La curiosidad te puede y abres la carta. Bueno, te veo un día que no estoy diciéndome de todo menos bonica. Pensándote que he sido yo y luego no he sido yo. No digo nada. Se trata de un formulario del nuevo gobierno de Advance en el que piden información de todos los ciudadanos. La primera página ya está cumplimentada. Tu nombre, Ale Winston. Tu pareja, Sam Winston. Tus hijos, Charlie Winston, 14 años, y Sissy Winston, 19. Bueno, murmuras. Al menos la información principal está bien. El resto de preguntas están por completar, parece que son obligatorias. Pregunta 1. En tu primer día de trabajo, ¿eres agradable, te presentas a tus nuevos compañeros? ¿Eres productivo y te pones a trabajar inmediatamente? ¿Te lo tomas con calma y tratas de ir acostumbrándote a tu nuevo espacio de trabajo? ¿Rememoras tus antiguos trabajos con amigos? ¿Eres agradable y te presentas a tus nuevos compañeros? Pregunta 2. Un compañero de otro departamento te ha confesado que se ha estado llevando a casa información confidencial. Hoy ha desaparecido un archivo de escasa importancia. ¿Qué haces? ¿Ayudas a tu compañero a cubrir su infracción? ¿Recomiendas a tu compañero que informe al jefe? ¿Prometes a tu compañero que no se lo dirás a nadie? ¿Informas de la infracción a tu superior inmediatamente? ¿Recomiendas a tu compañero? Vamos a hacer plan bonito. Han despedido hoy a todo un departamento por desempeño insuficiente. Tu jefe te ha dado nuevas responsabilidades y objetivos mucho más elevados de las que tenías. ¿Qué haces? ¿Salgo del trabajo a mi hora? Sunday Mouser, ¿qué? Salgo del trabajo a mi hora. Te quedas, lo escribí al revés. Recomiendas. Estaba leyendo recomiendas. O sea, decía, está comiendo mierda. Léelo al revés. Te quedas hasta tarde para asegurarte de que cumples los plazos. Sales antes del trabajo y te vas a salvar a hablar de los cambios con los compañeros. Sales antes y vuelves a casa para estar con tu familia. Salgo del trabajo a mi hora. Va por culo. Es la barbacoa anual de la empresa y te han invitado a ti y a tu familia. ¿Estás deseando disfrutar de un día agradable con tus amigos y tu familia? ¿Ese día te lavas el pelo? ¿Qué pelo? Vas, si no tienes nada mejor que hacer, pero no pasa nada si te lo pierdes. ¿Has estado practicando con tus compañeros de trabajo y crees que ganas el concurso de talentos este año? Fácil, no pasa nada, lógicamente. Tras una larga carrera plagada de éxitos, estás a punto de jubilarte. En tu discurso, tú enumeras tus logros y los buenos recuerdos que tienes trabajando allí. Haces un análisis sincero de los pros y contras de la empresa. Te centras en los problemas y los desafíos a los que te has enfrentado trabajando allí. Buenos recuerdos, ya toman por culo. En tu tiempo libre, tú. ¿Te gusta relajarte en soledad con actividades como escuchar música? Te centras, claro. ¿Te gusta relajarte en soledad con actividades como escuchar música o haciendo manualidades? ¿Asistes a manifestaciones políticas y luchas por tus valores? ¿Animas y apoyas a tus hijos con sus aficiones? Muchísimas gracias por esa raid. Bienvenidos, chicuelos, al canal de la salchicha. Welcome. Suena re bajito la salchicha. ¿Por qué suena bajito mi salchicha? Gracias, GameLure. ¿Cómo dice que le va? ¿Qué tal fue con ese hermoso Minecraft? ¿Por qué juego era ese?
Venga,
Suena re bajito,
por favor,
no sé por qué.
Déjeme curarme, gracias.
Suena extremadamente bajito la salchicha, pero no sé por qué. Tengo que mirarlo. No sale la salchicha porque estaba activado. Mala mía. Uf, qué bajito que suena. Debe ser un compresor. Por este. Ahora sí.
¿Salchicha?
Ahora sí.
¿Salchicha?
No sé por qué ahí tengo un par de compresores que no me están yendo muy bien. Bienvenidos, ¿qué tal están, chicuelos? Estamos con el fantástico juego Not For Broadcast. Acabamos de hacer el primer día. Estuvimos probando el Itorá, que salió hoy. Y ahora estamos con esto un ratito que lo conocí hace mucho tiempo. Y el señor GameLure también me lo había dicho. Uno de los posibles finales, que tenía muchos finales, y dije, es un buen día para probarlo. En tu tiempo libre, ¿tú te gusta relajarte en soledad con actividades como escuchar música o haciendo manualidades? ¿Asistes a manifestaciones políticas y luchas por tus valores? ¿Animas y apoyas a tus hijos con sus aficiones? ¿Juegas a un deporte favorito? ¿Animas y apoyas a tus hijos? Ahora, tus vacaciones ideales serían en un paraje natural donde puedes aliviar las tensiones provocadas por el trabajo rutinario, explorando un lugar desconocido y descubriendo nuevas experiencias y desafíos. Un día estructurado en un parque temático lleno de atracciones y adrenalina para ti y tu familia. Una escapada romántica con tu pareja en una isla tropical paradisíaca. No tengo ni puta idea. Paraje natural. Es que aliviar tensiones me suena a sexo duro, desenfrenado. Explorando un lugar desconocido y descubriendo nuevas experiencias y desafíos. Un día estructurado lleno de atracciones y adrenalina. ¿Adrenalina o no? ¿Te gusta cualquiera de estos dos? Paraje natural. Lo más importante es que el gobierno garantice que sus ciudadanos estén seguros, sean libres, estén felices, disfruten de igualdad. Disfruten de igualdad. Pero claro, esa es igualdad, pero hay que ver qué onda. Gracias por su cooperación. En Advance sabemos que su tiempo es valioso y agradecemos su ayuda para liderar a la nación hacia un futuro más brillante. Entonces entiendo yo que como buenos realizadores de un noticiero nos van a dar por ahí alguna misión los de Advance en función de lo que digamos. Cosas de casa, es tarde, Sam y los niños ya se han ido a la cama. Estás secando tu taza de café favorita, un recuerdo desgastado de vuestro primer viaje juntos. La pintura ya apenas se ve, pero la cara tan bobalicona que tiene dibujada todavía te saca una sonrisa. Unos golpeteos en la ventana te devuelven a la realidad. Allí en el jardín, sujetando un llamativo maletín verde fosforito, está Chris. De todos los hermanos y hermanas de Sam, quien mejor te cae. En cuanto pasa, se sienta en la mesa de la cocina temblando. Chris inspira profundamente. Perdona por venir tan tarde, Ale, balbucea Chris, pero necesito un favor y solo tú puedes ayudarme. No hay problema, ¿qué pasa? ¿Va todo bien? ¿Quieres que llames a Sam? Vamos a ver con esto. No hace falta preocupar a Sam. He venido a verte a ti. Solo necesito 2 minutos. Ya sabes lo de la ley de bienes y riquezas, ¿no? Trabajo en las noticias, Chris. La verdad es que no estoy muy al día. Trabajo en las noticias, ya sabemos cómo va este tema. Chris golpea la mesa con su puño. Una puta mierda. Se están llevando todo lo que quieren y lo distribuyen como les viene en gana. Ningún gobierno debería tener ese poder. No me puedo creer que se esté saliendo con la suya. Es una locura. Por eso necesito tu ayuda. ¿Qué es lo que necesitas exactamente? ¿Por qué tengo la sensación de que esto no me va a gustar? Porque la sensación va a ser esa. Los ojos de Chris no se despegan de las baldosas del suelo. Mira, sé que estoy pidiendo mucho, pero necesito que me prestes tu pasaporte. ¿Mi pasaporte? ¿Para qué? ¿Mi pasaporte? No puedo dártelo, es ilegal. Vamos a ponerle para qué. Te han llevado el mío junto con el de la mitad del país. Pero la gente siempre dice que tú y yo nos parecemos, así que Chris camina de un lado al otro. Tengo que salir de aquí antes de que sea demasiado tarde. Una vez que esté fuera, yo y mi dinero estaremos a salvo. Pero tengo que irme antes de que congelen mis cuentas. Por favor, no te lo pediría si tuviese alternativa. Uf. Qué dilema, porque al fin y al cabo, la nueva ley precisamente es igualitaria, pero claro, le sacaron el pasaporte a toda la gente rica. Vale, está arriba en la caja fuerte, voy a buscártelo. Subes por las escaleras hasta tu dormitorio, con cuidado para no despertar a tu pareja. Sam se ha enrollado en el edredón tal y como hace siempre que se mete en cama antes que tú. Abres el armario, desbloqueas la caja fuerte y sacas el pasaporte. Una voz somnolienta rompe el silencio. Ale, ¿qué pasa? Nada, cariño, no te preocupes, vuelve a dormirte. Chris está abajo. Quiere salir del país y necesita mi pasaporte para poder. Uf. ¿No sigue siendo? Sí. Sigue siendo, Tindro. Te pongo en situación. Eso fue el día 1. El día 3 te llega una carta que viene a ser del gobierno y te hacen como un cuestionario para ver más o menos cómo sos. Muy a los Fallout cuando empezás, ¿no? Con diferentes tipos de preguntas. Ahora mismo, en esa carta de Advance, el gobierno te decía con lujo de detalle quién sos vos, la pareja que tenés, cuántos hijos tenés, sus edades y demás. Nos llamamos Ale, tenemos una pareja que se llama Sam, y tenemos 2 hijos, uno de 14 y otro de 19. Ahora mismo apareció nuestro cuñado por la ventana a la noche y nos tenemos como multiple choice de preguntas y nos dice que si sabemos cuál es la nueva ley de bienes y reformas o algo así, no me acuerdo muy bien cómo se llama, que precisamente es la ley que está en contra, digamos, de toda la gente rica, por lo que le sacaron su pasaporte. El chabón se quiere ir, entonces nos está preguntando si, como ya que siempre se parecieron un poquito, si le daríamos nuestro pasaporte. Le puse que sí, pero claro, también en parte de la conversación era si quería que le digamos a nuestra mujer, en este caso su hermana, por si quiero hablar con ella, dijo que no hacía falta. Entonces ahora estamos en ese momento donde subimos las escaleras hasta el dormitorio para no despertarla. Y Sam estaba enrollada y nos rompió el silencio, la mujer se despertó y ahora la pregunta es, ¿qué pasa? Nada, cariño, no te preocupes, vuelve a dormirte. Oh, Chris está abajo, nuestro cuñado. Quiere salir del país y necesita mi pasaporte para poder hacerlo. Yo en esta situación le diría que está abajo, a pesar que el hermano no quiere que involucrar a la hermana. El día de mañana, si no, toda la mierda me va a caer a mí. Así que vamos a decirle. Sam se sienta rápidamente como un resorte. Cualquier rastro de sueño ha desaparecido. ¿Qué? ¿Cómo que se va del país? ¿Tan mal están las cosas? Eso parece, pero si logran salir estarán bien. Chris puede usar mi pasaporte y salir. Eso dice Chris, pero no lo sé. No tengo claro si de verdad quiero darle mi pasaporte. Y claro, le sacaron el pasaporte y le van a sacar todo el dinero también. Eso parece, pero si logran salir estarán bien. Y claro, también nos metemos nosotros en un problema. Pero estamos ayudando a una persona y por esa persona, con la guita que tiene, nos puede ayudar desde afuera. Vamos a decirle que se lo damos. Las arrugas de preocupación en la cara de Sam se relajan. Gracias, tenemos que cuidar a nuestra familia. Conozco bien a Chris. Seguro que exagera. Exacto, deja que le lleve esto y ahora subo a dormir. Lo siento mucho, sé lo importante que es la familia para ti, pero no creo que sea buena idea, no puedo arriesgarme. Vamos a dejar que se lo lleve. Vamos a darle. Cierras la caja fuerte y bajas para reunirte de nuevo con Chris, que se mueve nerviosamente. Cuando vuelves a entrar en la cocina, salta. ¿Y bien? ¿Lo tienes? Sí. Toma, suerte con todo esto. Lo siento, Chris, va contra la ley, tendrás que aceptarlo. No seas pelotudo, dáselo a la familia y ya está. Por primera vez, Chris sonríe. Su sonrisa es contagiosa. Gracias, te lo agradezco en el alma. Contactaré con vosotros cuando esté a salvo fuera del país. Chris coge el pasaporte y con un suspiro de alivio recoge su maletín fluorescente y sale, perdiéndose en la noche. Te diriges a la cama esperando poder recuperar una parte del edredón de Sam sin que se despierte. Por cierto, Tindrot, hay un making of de este juego, Not For Broadcast. Mira, justo, Not For Broadcast, luces, cámara, confinamiento, gratuito en Steam. O sea, es un documental, entiendo yo, de cómo se hizo. Puede ser muy curioso. Me encanta porque como repercusiones. La marioneta, ¿no? El realizador es una marioneta de todo. Vale. ¿Ves? Mira. Situación un poco de los controles que tenemos en el juego. Tenemos 4 pantallas que los manejamos con el 1, 2, 3 y 4. O apretando acá 1, 2, 3, 4. Eso por un lado. Después tenemos lo de arriba que sería el share, ¿cómo se dice? El rating que tenés, la audiencia, si sube o baja. Después por otro lado tenemos el sensor que lo tenemos acá. Esto es nuevo, o sea, vamos a tener una nueva mecánica en este nivel. Después tenemos esta que es la señal de ondas, que es con Alt, que hay que hacer que lo verde siempre esté con lo blanco. Estas son los tapes para la publicidad. Y creo que ya estaríamos. Esto sería el directo. El hotkey es la barra espaciadora. Solamente que me había olvidado en el momento. Esto sería el directo. Esto sería la señal que va a transcurrir en el directo, que son con 2 segundos de diferencia. Y hasta ahí todo bien. Teléfono. Ah, es verdad, esto. Uy, me había olvidado de esto. O sea, con esto encendemos todo esto. Joder. ¿Deberías jugar este juego? ¿Este juguete seguro? ¿Deberíamos jugar este juguete seguro? El juguete imprescindible de Ryan Monsives para tus hijos esta Navidad. Próximamente entre otros medianos de tu barrio. Los adornos festivos y espectaculares de Neil el Pirado. Una crema facial novedosa con un toque diferente. Emisión imprescindible presentando al equipo de emprendedores de Advance.
always come at the start. It's
Con
really
esto.
simple, mate. These two buttons at the bottom of the vision mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them. And they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine. And you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches 0. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So like with the adverts, choose carefully.
No, come on, this is kid.
Good luck, mate. If I get time off, I'll be back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
Uy, qué quilombo.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon.
10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the country's wealth creators in a state of panic and unfavorable rumblings already heard from overseas, I'll be asking my guests whether Advance can deliver on even a fraction of their manifesto promises. Out with the old, Remington's fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington.
Qué bueno que está.
She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honours, immediately being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this
Uy, qué
Christmas,
buena, justo.
but concerns have been raised about the product's safety.
Uy, no, y justo lo puse.
Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artiste Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatched Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding
Ese
agents?
está más fácil, ¿no?
And grievous bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more people saying,
Sí, vamos a ser dramáticos.
alone at night, could this be exactly the right time for Advance's new approach? All that, a mega move with a group of young actors who are already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
No sé qué mierda hice. Uy, pará, interferencias. Me faltó eso. No vi las interferencias. ¿Y a cuál le doy?
In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up.
Ay, me equivoqué.
Alan, the government Government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't what
And this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, who will be laughing then?
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't
Ay, no llegué.
is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to
Me re perdí ya.
behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic pedophiles.
That's based on the facts. Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
You know, I think they might do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much are you being paid by them then?
Shut the fuck up, Alan. I've never heard so much shit in my life.
Uf, es buenísimo. Buenas tardes, me voy a dormir. Un besote enorme a todos menos a Salchicha. No es broma, para ti más grande. Un besote enorme en la Salchicha. Uno tiene que hacer de que te fueras. Que descanses, Lee. Gracias por la compañía. Un besito grande.
Well, we'll see who's full of shit, won't we?
Alan, I can explain it to you, but unfortunately I can't understand it for you.
Es una locura el juego.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
Vamos a hacer la una.
Bullshit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
Está muy bueno. Está muy bueno, Gamer. ¿Cómo estás, precioso?
If that sticks, I'll destroy you.
A nivel de realización es una locura. Uy.
Welcome back. In our second
Está bien,
segment,
sí.
we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to make the people who live
Ay, ¿cómo era
in the
esto?
criminal justice system
No me acuerdo cómo era.
their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem.
Greg?
We need more support from ministers. Helen, what are you doing? We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on.
Pero ¿cómo se hacía? No me acuerdo del hotkey. Pará que no me acuerdo del hotkey. No me acuerdo del hotkey. Censurar, espacio, anuncio. Alterar. Habitaciones, navegación. Seleccionar abajo, seleccionar arriba. Golpear abrazamimos. ¿En serio? No me lo pone. Ajustar es con Alt, pero no.
Jeremy, it's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. The affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation.
Ah, era acá solamente, creo.
On our public
Sorry to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Next, I'm joined by Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I am sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly.
No te parece.
Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, a bloody gimp's escaped. As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much, did he?
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants responsible for moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
I'm sorry, darling. I was saying.
Clive, could you put him back in the box?
Oh, Clive, you know it's Wednesday. Back you go. Back in your gimp space.
And
Off you go.
whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well,
Es que no puedo.
responsibility of the decent, good, white people
Darling,
of this...
where's the padlock?
Oh, hold on just a moment.
Es que no sé qué poner acá.
Clive, this simply won't do. Naughty, naughty, naughty boy. Mummy said get
Clive, I am not having this again.
Mummy said get back in your gimp space. No! Naughty! You beast, Clive! You...
As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay.
Wow.
Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality for us. And finally tonight, hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary, and menacing a swan. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that.
Otra vez me perdí la censura.
Titwank Tony. Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalization, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party.
Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we're trying to let you get back to
Perdí
that.
totalmente la onda.
First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Tit wank Tony.
Way!
I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez.
Sopen!
Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. There's Big Chris,
Oi, oi!
Little Chris,
Oi, oi!
and Vampire Chris.
This one's, yeah?
Yep.
One sec, love. Tit wank Tony's on the news. Rehabilitation's difficult with the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
No, yo no puedo, me pierdo. Igual estoy haciendo más la visual.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Sopen!
You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh. Not now, fellas, I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
The little boy.
Oh, I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Jesus!
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal
No
there, Tony.
fucking way, let's believe that!
Well, we're just trying to get that.
Que es un quilombo esta parte.
I think we. Yes, Tony. Tony, I mean,
Es muy quilombo.
how has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, since we've lost our train, you, the viewer at home,
No necesariamente, acá podés hacer lo que vos querés.
serious and complex.
Es censura, vamos a censurarlo.
After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians.
Es una locura esta parte.
We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody. That worked.
Puta locura que es esta sección. Y encima lo pongo a este boludo, no me di cuenta. Valoración del bloque E. No voy a reiniciarlo, mucha paja, o sea, es muy tarde ya para reiniciarlo. Termino esto, veo la puntuación malísima que tengo. Uy, ¿qué es esto?
Sure he's on his way. Come on, it's welcome back. How hard can it be?
This is on you. 10 seconds, everybody. We're going to open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome's Black. I'm Megan Wolfe, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley-Hamilton. Girls, you must be thrilled.
We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest.
I'm the older, more popular one. Only joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher.
Maths is really important.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle
I just think that when we travel around all these problem schools and the poor kids see us, they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing. We touch our audiences and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela, and I, we often laugh about it.
Angela Algebra.
Yes.
We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
and teach people about the
Es que ese movimiento de cámara me jode la vida.
issues in the play or what really matter.
And I think you're going to be...
La idea sería un plano general continuo prácticamente.
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first year who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually...
Es que claro, es que el plano no es el mismo, entonces me recode.
She's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor Maybe she's you at home, or like, maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Put it in, coach.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it. That's it, that way. So, Jeff,
Que bajó un montón así.
hear about the grant.
2 days ago, a letter from Advance
Quilombo.
arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
Wow, how did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they rang the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
Do you know what? It's funny because Angela and I don't usually vote.
Ooh.
We're not very political. I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic mainly. But we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this.
¿Ves? Mira, si mantenés mucho el plano, ¿ves? Baja muchísimo la...
So, let's have a look.
Ay, no llegué.
Of Hey, Friendship. Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears.
Tears.
Another day of fears. But still I walk the corridors alone. Alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi Gary.
Oh heavens, no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist!
¿Qué mierda de plano hago?
Great. I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Violent father.
Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. And so important.
Maths is for losers.
What?
Maths is for losers.
My arm's stuck, coach.
Keep going, for fuck's sake.
Right, maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only truly happy when I'm eating?
Not today, Gary the Fist.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? Oh, my arm's free, coach.
Brilliant, keep going.
Right, who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist, and you're just a sad little girl with 2 gay dads who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my 2 new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team.
Yeah!
And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
Ay, qué mal.
But I can't fight all 3 of you, and I don't have any friends of my own.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face. I could be you. She could be you. And you could be me.
Or you could be me.
Life can be cheeky.
No sé.
Choice to be made. So stop now, make a different choice.
Hey, listen up, I won't take no crap. Who said middle class girls can't rap? I ain't afraid of your cruel lads. I'm a mother loving rebel, but I still love maths.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think a folks like me probably shouldn't exist, but that's just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist.
10 segundos de plano verde, intercalando máximo 2 segundos los naranjas. Esa parte no me quedé. O sea, sí me quedé con eso de los 10 segundos. Pero después teniendo conversaciones.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate.
Hay un momento que me perdí ya.
Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate. It's so damn hard on a council estate.
Life can be peachy keen.
Yeah.
If you work as a team.
Just work as a team.
It's your choice to be me.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Friendship!
Yes! Oh.
Well, thankfully that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night for all the headlines from across the country. My name's Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
Me olvidé de darle, qué boludo.
What the literal fuck was that?
I believe that was art.
I believe I've got a 14-inch cock, but it doesn't make it so.
I have a similar belief about an adequate paycheck.
Oh, someone please get these twats out of my studio.
Dios. Sí, yo también. Uf, malísimo. Sí, yo también, yo me voy a la cama, voy a hacer una raid. Valoración de la emisión E. Malísima. Empecé bien, pero la cagué. Hemos emitido algunas palabras. Una locura. Edición sumamente pobre. Ya. Has puesto un anuncio demasiado tarde, el último. El programa sin interrupciones. Las interrupciones es lo que más me jode, porque no me acuerdo cómo era. Una reducción del sueldo y no era actual deuda agobiante. Audiencia.